I want to ask you about this story of the Washington Post where, listen, they're saying that young people in D.C. are like, I like watching Lamar. They win. They make me happy. I'm not going to waste my Sunday afternoon. And a Raven game just got higher ratings than a Redskin game. Now you're not a millennial, but you're not as old as me, so you're somewhat of a tweener.
Gen X, I believe.
You're
right?
a Gen Xer. So How does that land for you, that story?
Well, I mean, like, look, my son, on his Christmas wish list, the number one thing, I want a Lamar Jackson jersey. Like, he's the dude right now.
Right.
Okay, that's undeniable. Let's also be honest about the Redskins. The quarterback thing is a disaster, but it's a disaster some out of their own hands.
Right.
Alex Smith broke his leg in a way in which he's likely to never play football again.
I know,
right?
It's awful.
I mean, we're talking about more than a dozen surgeries.
Yeah.
So if that doesn't, and then Colt McCoy comes in and breaks his leg.
Right.
Right. Yes, the Dan Snyder's son, going to school with Dwayne Haskins, being a local kid, drafting him, but like it's not like Dwayne Haskins wasn't a prospect. And,
right.
I mean, John Elway drafted Brock Osweiler because he was roommates with his son at Arizona State.
But Washington's been bad for 15 years.
Yes. And the Ravens have been good for 15 years. It's like people just woke up and go, hey, the Ravens are better run than the Redskins. It's Lamar Jackson's awesome and fun to watch.
And I understand you never bailing on Oklahoma State. A college is different. You live there, diploma. You literally are a resident on the grounds. But
yes,
pro sports,
I've never understood the season ticket thing, right? I've never understood that. Like, wait, I have to pay money so that now I have to go to every game and I'm paying for preseason games? I've never understood that.
Right.
And I've never really understood the fandom thing outside of my school, and that one's hard. I will tell you that I have really strong relationships and an affinity to the Chargers, and watching them lose games this year,
it's hard.
Hurts my soul.
Yeah, I get it.
I want to be a Patriot fan. I want to figure, but I cannot bail to that level.
Well, it's the same thing. I love Andy Reid. Chief losses hurt. I like Chris Ballard for the Colts. I do.
That's how I am with basketball. Is I root for people more than teams.
That's what I do. Let's shift to this. When you came out, you're willing to say things that make people mad, but you said when Andrew Luck retired, you're like, you don't do it then. People threw grenades at you, but over the course of time, more people were like, yeah, it wasn't ideal, actually. And you're much cooler on Lamar, which I think is fun because I like the conflict in the story, and everybody's pro-Lamar. You like him, but
I don't like him. I love it, but we're mistelling the story completely. Like the whole thing, we're like, oh, he was waiting in the draft room forever. Like, he was a first-round pick, okay? He was a first-round pick, like Tom Brady's a sixth-round pick. Russell Wilson's
Joe Montana a third.
Well, I mean, Russell Wilson was a third-round pick. Dak Prescott was a fourth-round pick.
Yeah.
Let's tell the story properly, because tonight you're going to see Sam Darnold, who should have gone number one overall,
right?
Who end up going to the Jets, right? Mistake by the Giants, mistake by the Browns. Should have gone number one overall. I would still, to this day, take Sam Darnold over Lamar Jackson, and Lamar Jackson's likely to be the MVP because it's the long-term play, right? I'm not buying short-term, long-term. Lamar Jackson was represented by his mother.
Yeah.
They couldn't get a hold of him, get a hold of her in terms of workouts.
Yeah.
He's a really, really nice kid.
Yes.
But he's not all these other quarterbacks do the quarterback thing where they take over a room.
Yeah.
He didn't.
Yeah,
and he doesn't.
Quiet kid.
Way behind in terms of the whiteboard.
Yeah.
Was inaccurate in college.
Yeah.
And was seen as a niche quarterback that you're going to have to either transform your team into that system or slowly allow him to evolve. He went to a team which is a perennial playoff team, and he took over mid-year, and they made the playoffs. Let's also remember, all these Baltimore fans, like, you all missed it. You booed him at home in the playoffs last year. They booed him. That did happen.
Yeah.
Okay, so now let's fast forward to year two. They decided we're going all in on this plan, and it's working. It's taking the league by storm.
Yeah.
Okay, whereas Sam Darnold inherited the Jets with a different general manager, different head coach, and it's
still the worst O-line in football.
Worst O-line in football. Outside, the only reason you know Robbie Anderson is because some of the things he said to a cop when he got arrested, right?
Right.
Outside of that, the Le'Veon Bell signing's a disaster. I mean, a lot of this is franchise-oriented.
Sure, no, there's no question. Drew Bledsoe said that yesterday. Where you land's a lot.
But if you want to tell me that Lamar Jackson is a good long-term play, then you're going to tell me that Cam Newton was a good long-term play. Cam Newton had one great year, a couple other good years, and a lot of disappointing years, and now he's on the brink of of being shipped or maybe being out of the league because it's really hard to pay Cam Newton. He's Cam Newton without all the attitude, without all the arrogance, right? That's what he is.
Well, you could also say this, and this wouldn't be as anti-Lamar Jackson. I think if people said Patrick Mahomes is the future of the league, not Lamar.
Yes, that's what I've said.
Yeah, because
you have to be mobile, but you have to be able to throw and complete passes. He can do it on multiple platforms, but he never throws outside the numbers. Look, here's the truth to that style. Okay, that they're fully committed to. They're really smart. They got RG3 as a perfect backup because he's lived it, and they tried to make RG3 in D.C. into a pro-style quarterback. He couldn't do it.
Right.
As well as his body kind of breaking down. But again, that's part and parcel to why you don't do it. You're never going to get an elite-level wide receiver who's not on a rookie deal. Why? They just don't get enough footballs. They just don't. And footballs equal money, right? So you're going to do it with the tight ends. The NFL is going to adjust. The entire offseason, teams prepared for a West Coast-style offense, for a spread-style offense. They don't prepare for that. So personnel-wise, the reason the Bills were able to keep him in check is they have fast linebackers. They'll slowly come around to, we got to find a way to stop Lamar Jackson if we want to get to a Super Bowl. In the meantime, he too can evolve as he has this year and gotten more accurate and gotten more comfortable. And remember, Lamar, this is the real brilliance to Baltimore. Not only fully committed, but they're fully committed to a style that basically he's played his whole life.
Yeah.
Right? Option football and running and reading, this is what he's done his whole life. So you're not asking him.
And he's great at it.
He's unbelievable at it.
Yeah.
But unless they change the rules to where they can't hit you outside of the pocket, they're going to catch you. They're going to hit you. They're going to hurt you. You can't tell me that Cam Newton, who's the biggest, strongest athletic quarterback we've ever seen, his body breaks down at 30, and we can expect Lamar Jackson to be different.
Yeah, well, Big Ben and Cam are both monsters. I remember when Cam was drafted, and I remember he stood next to in a photo a defensive end, and Cam was bigger than the defensive end, and I was like, I remember Jamarcus Russell actually stood next to Corey Gaines of Clemson on a photo I saw, and I'm like, Jamarcus is way bigger than the defensive end. Either Jamarcus is going to be the greatest player ever or Corey Gaines is not going to be a superstar. So I think all these things are realistic. I don't think that is a popular opinion, but I do think in my mind the way the NFL works, if you told me 10 years from now Patrick Mahomes and Lamar, I would check the Patrick Mahomes box. Right. That feels like more like mobility, but a style that is
you have to be able to. What do you do? What can you do when you get behind the chains? I mean, the big thing with the Ravens is
they start fast.
They start fast. They get ahead of you. They start playing downhill, and they shorten the game because they're running the football. They have the best kicker in football. They got a great defense. They made an adjustment to that defense, trading for Marcus Peters midseason. They've done all these right things.
Yeah.
But when they get to third and long, that's just not what he does. That's not who he is. And I don't know if that's who will ever be in the ability to take a team 80 yards when they're down a score late in the game, when you have to throw accurately outside the numbers. He doesn't do that. And I think Darnold will do it better. I obviously think Mahomes. We've seen Russell Wilson. These are guys that last. Now, Russell Wilson started as more of a runner, but he's always been a thrower in and out of the pocket.
He also throws the best deep ball maybe in the league. Russell throws an
incredibly accurate.
By the way, Darnold will not look like the better quarterback tonight.
No,
the Jets' offensive line is terrible.
It's gonna be a bludgeoning.
33-6. It'll be just now. You watch Saban and Belichick on HBO, and there's a reason they had to do it in Saban's office. Because Saban can't take a day off because college football is no longer the job it used to be. Transfer portal, now you can't. There's no time off for recruiting. Belichick's like, I'll fly down to Alabama. I get like months off at a time. Saban is a young 68. Now he's got Kiffin, Orgeron, Kirby Smart poaching him, the three best recruiters in the country. This is a defense that he'd elevate immediately. It's not a rebuild job. It's not the Lions where it's 23-hour days. You'd think there's no shot he wouldn't listen to the Dallas Cowboys. Not a shot.
No.
Not even a little.
No.
And do you think they'd call him?
Yeah, I mean, they call him, sure. But you think he wants his owner having a press conference in his locker room after a loss? Like, come on. The reason he's talking with Parcells, right? The reason Parcells left. Parcells' famous quote is, I want to pick the groceries. Like, you don't get to do that in Dallas. So it sounds great on radio. It sounds great on TV. Texas, no state income tax, most prestigious job. There's a reason that Jimmy Johnson walked away from a championship team. There's a reason that Bill Parcells walked away, right? Those are the two greatest coaches they have had since he took over ownership. And both are like, pass. It's over. There's a reason that Troy Aikman's like, I would love to run a team, just not my team, right? It's because of Jerry. Everybody knows that's the deal. And so Nick Saban's not going to go from being the dictator, he's bigger than the governor of Alabama, to taking orders from Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones. Not happening. Like, that's one of those, like, it's in the boardroom. You're like, it's a good idea. No shot of happening.
Okay.
Sorry.
OBJ, I never bought it. I thought he and Baker would be productive.
By the way, University of Texas job could be open another year. It's no state income tax. They flirted before that. That's more of a possibility.
All right. OBJ. I never thought it would work, although I did think Baker and OBJ, while he was there, would be productive. I didn't think it worked for his personality, his brand, who he is. You think he has a chance? Now, the GM would have to trade him, and that would be acknowledging I whiffed on the trade.
Dave Gettleman did the same thing, right? I mean, Dave Gettleman took over with the Giants, signed to a big contract. A year later, said thanks, but no thanks, right? And it's not working. Jarvis Landry's the better player. Jarvis Landry, you haven't heard hide nor hair from him. He's not complaining. I think they feel like OBJ is even turning Baker Mayfield against the organization, where Baker Mayfield throws the training staff under the bus. Yeah, this is one of those marriages that is on its way to a divorce. They just haven't told the kids yet. That's what this feels like.
Let's talk about Kawhi Leonard comes back. I was saying, listen, I ski a lot. I like to ski. Never own skis. The most miserable people in the world are families with ski gear at airports. Just rent it. The resorts buy new ones every year. If you crash and break the ski, you buy insurance. Don't have to pay for it. If they're your own, you would have to. I don't rent. I bought a boat for an hour. Worst decision of my life. I rent jet skis. I rent boats. I lease all my fun. Outside of golf clubs, if you were a PGA golfer, I lease everything. My argument is Kawhi Leonard was the greatest rental of all time, and more teams should not worry about a 15-year plan. Go win now.
Well, just again, you're not wrong. Okay, you are right. This was a summer romance. This is the perfect rental, right? And by the way, let's give it up to the newer generation. Whether it's millennials or what is it, Gen Y now? What is it? I don't even know what you call like the next gen. But they're renting now instead of buying.
Yeah, they don't even want to own cars. They want to Uber everywhere.
Right. I mean, like, look, at least I've never done the 30-year fixed mortgage. Like, that's the dumbest thing ever, right? Like, who's in a house for 30 years anymore? But yes, renting is smart. But again, it depends on where you are, and it takes the perfect guy in the perfect city in the perfect scenario. But let's also credit fans of Toronto who got it, right? Last night he wasn't booed. Last night he was cheered. They got it. Like, you were just here to win a championship and move on. You didn't say you wanted to be here long-term, and you weren't here long-term. And we told you wouldn't have to play every game, and you played 60 games. So it all worked. It's the perfect rental scenario. Sometimes, you've talked about second homes. I know you have a second and a third.
I have one small grotto in Utah.
It is maybe the nicest place I've ever been in my life.
Anyway, I've invited both Joy and you.
Real video games. Joy, you know those ones that your parents would never give you the 4 quarters to afford in arcade video games, where you like sit on them and ride them? There's 2 of them in the basement of the house.
Amazing.
I invited you to come.
Yes, you did. It was very generous.
Invited you.
Yes.
And so I've always open for my friends.
No question about it. Although you did hit me with the cleaning fee when I stayed there.
Did you get to the story?
The story is like, yes, sometimes renting a place is smarter than buying a vacation home, because then you're like, I can't simply go to Utah every time I want to have a vacation.
I'm a creature of habit. I like Utah. All right, let's go to this. We got 2 minutes left. You shocked how good the Lakers are?
A little bit. But I'll also point out that I would credit the staff, and I would credit Frank Vogel for doing a 180 and listen to his staff. LeBron has been amazing. And amazing. Look, his defense isn't as good as it used to be. And there are times in which he overpasses and gets a little silly and a little loose, clearly trying to lead the league in assists. Yeah. He's trying to. Some of it is he's helped foster kind of the growth of Anthony Davis. He wants to make him into an alpha scorer for the playoffs. But the biggest thing that's changed this season is Alex Caruso, a balding white guy who's freakishly athletic, who has completely changed this franchise and their trajectory, because it allows LeBron James to not guard guards. He gives them another shot creator. He has no ego. The team loves him. He makes almost no money. He's grown from within. Like Alex Caruso has changed this team into the best team in the NBA. He's a dynamic on-ball defender who has learned to hit an open shot.
And by the way, it hits the deck like tough.
Yes,
he's like a tough
but also
guy.
will dunk on dudes, right? And it brings he's brought the whole team together. And if you watch, he didn't play first game of the season. Didn't take off the sweats. Was supposedly hurt, but could have gone that night. Did not take off the sweats. They get beat by the Clippers, and the staff was like, "Hey, Caruso." And there was fear that when Rondo came back, his minutes would dissipate. They have not. This is a great defensive team. LeBron plays quarterback, tells everybody else what to do, and in the fourth quarter, he can take over scoring-wise. They're the best team in the NBA, and Alex Caruso is a big reason why.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.